How's it going, Mets, Braves fans, whoever you're a fan of? It's your boy Wardy, and we're back out with the latest quick game recap as the New York Metropolitans drop yet another series. He dropped 2 games out of 3 against the Atlanta Braves and lose tonight by a final score of 7-0. Now I'm going to share my initial reactions and, of course, getting into the nitty-gritty about this game, innings 1 through 9, what I liked, certainly what I didn't like, which was the vast majority of this ball game. If you're a Mets fan, if you're a Braves fan, you're happy to get another series win against your rival, that being in the Metropolitans. A lopsided rivalry all season long, as the Mets, of course, are a team that is not going anywhere, and the Braves are certainly the opposite. They should be the opposite, to say the least, with the amount of ridiculous talent that they have in their lineup, 1 through 9, and led by Charlie Morton tonight, who absolutely carved up the Mets, and has now pitched 18 consecutive scoreless innings against this same Metropolitan team. So let's get into it. Of course, I want to know your initial reactions in the comments down below, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. And as a Mets fan, obviously, I had very low expectations entering this series. Yes, the Mets were winning ball games, but they were winning ball games against bad teams. The St. Louis Cardinals, they won 3 out of 4. Whoop-de-doo, no one should be shocked that there is a difference in talent level from a St. Louis Cardinals team, a team that's not going anywhere this year, hasn't been going anywhere since the season began, versus an Atlanta Braves team that just steamrolled the Mets not even 2 weeks ago, and is one of, if not the best team, arguably, in all of baseball at the moment. So the Atlanta Braves in Hotlanta, no less, we expected them to be guns a-blazing. The fact that the Mets even took 1 game in this series is honestly something that I can at least be somewhat happy about, even though that the reality is that there aren't much things to be happy about at all with this season, with how much it has been a downhill disaster for this club. And of course, they did a very good job at the trade deadline on acquiring young assets, one partying with their grizzled vets and rentals. Doesn't change the fact that it's still been quite an embarrassment and disappointing season. But let's get into this game in particular. Again, it's a 7-0. It's an easy win for the Braves. The Mets offense was simply not there. You know, they didn't even have 5 hits tonight to 12 that the Atlanta Braves had. The Atlanta Braves had an expected batting average of 327. The Mets had an expected batting average of not even 120. Quite the lopsidedness. And Jose Quintana, while you look at his stat line, he did give up 5.1 innings of, 5 earned run ball. However, a little bit deceiving. Quintana was, again, getting worked a little bit early in the start against a very good, very talented Atlanta Braves team. But all things considered, a start where, you know, yes, it stinks to see him give up 5 earned. Of course, Phil Bickford came in and allowed those 2 additional runs to score after Quintana exited, only allowing 3 earned runs over 5.1 innings at the time. But this was just one of those games where even if Jose Quintana, say, won 6 innings of 1 to 3 earned run ball, I had zero confidence the Mets were going to win. The offense was just not there at all, because you're facing a Charlie Morton, who I said has been carving up this Metropolitan team. The Mets tattooed him earlier in the year last year, and then he had a dominant start against them, like a complete game shutout or close to, and the guy's been absolutely killing it against the Mets. 7 innings of 2 hit, 0 earned run ball, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts, 3.37 ERA for the 39-year-old, who looks like he very well could be one of the biggest focal points in how deep of a run the Braves go on this year in the postseason. With their lack of depth in their rotation, they're going to need a grizzled vet like Charlie Morton to hold his ground and hold his own, and he certainly did that tonight again against a lesser Mets club who have faltered against him quite a bit. Quintana, as I mentioned, 5 strikeouts, 5 earned runs allowed, 3 walks, 100 pitches. Not a great start for Jose by any stretch. However, Jose Quintana, I will give the benefit of the doubt of, has been very sharp for the Mets since arriving from his injury later in the second half of the season. So I really don't have too much complaints, and this was just a game where the Mets did not have their offense. Why should I believe that they're going to come back and say win this ball game if instead of it being 7-0, it being, I don't know, 2-0, 1-0, because the reality is the offense just simply wasn't there. DJ Stewart, who had a couple of nice doubles today, also faltered defensively. That allowed more runs to score. Vaughn Grissom drove in a couple thanks to what should have hopefully been a stop in right field by someone who's a competent right fielder. However, DJ Stewart, who's been great with the bat, doing his best Barry Bonds impression lately, just a slugging machine, is not a good defender. He's a DH. He's at best, a filler in right field or the corner outfield. It's not a guy you want playing outfield defense, and he couldn't do that for the Mets' sake as the Braves tacked on more runs. And that's really all she wrote. There isn't much I need to talk about in this game. Braves fans, I know how happy you are. Mets fans, I mean, we expected the worst, so they didn't get swept. There's that. The fact that the Mets aren't deeper out of the wild card race than what they are right now is insane. The fact that the Mets have a greater chance right now of making playoffs than the New York Yankees is even more bizarre. And this is not a shot at the Yanks right now, as much as I love to do that as much as I possibly can. Both teams suck in New York. You know, it's the battle of mid. It's the battle of below pond scum when it comes to New York baseball at the moment. Hopefully their football and hockey seasons are better, respectively, for all those different teams. And basketball, of course. But point still stands. Just an absolute shit show that we have witnessed all year long from this club. And to make matters even worse, you know who was the man who killed the Mets most of the series and has done great against them all year long? It is, of course, everyone's favorite Atlanta Brave, and surely not someone who faces domestic abuse. That being, not faces, but rather is at the focal point of that being in Marcell Ozuna. So, you know, that's never fun. That's never great to see Ozuna, of all people, hitting consecutive nukes against your favorite team. You know, it's frustrating. It pisses me off. It disgusts me. It disgusts me just as much how Braves fans, everyone and their mother, their sister, their brother, their father, decided to stand up and be clapping and cheering as Pete Alonso got drilled yesterday by Elder. Of course, that was an unintentional hit by pitch. It still happened, however, and Braves fans being as classy as they are, and this is not to single out every single Braves fan, so before Braves fans go in the comments and say, how dare you say that about our fan base? A couple fans does not explain and showcase the entire fan base. No shit, Sherlock. I'm fully aware of that. I'm referring to specifically the hundreds of fans, hundreds, if not thousands of fans, thousands likely in a packed stadium yesterday in Atlanta, cheering with joy that Pete Alonso got hit. So to all you schmucks out there, you are too below pond scum, right, with the battle mid that is the New York teams in baseball at the moment. But that was annoying, definitely a frustrating series again if you're a Mets fan, but I can't sit here and yell, I can't sit here, you know, and scream my head off or anything like that, because the season's been done for quite a period of time now. I'm numb to this, I'm numb to the losing. If the Mets have any exciting games at all for the remainder of the year, that's something that I can at least take away and say, hey, okay, that was kind of worth watching tonight, you know, even though I'm still going to be watching this team win or lose for the remainder of the season. So that's all she wrote. You know, the Braves got the job done. Tonkin, Yates, they got the job done fine out of the bullpen. Mets, again, Bickford, of course, still allowed to earn runs. Sean Reed-Foley, I will give a shout out to SRF, making his bullpen debut after being out for over a year with Tommy John surgery. Sean Reed-Foley pitches a clean 8th inning for the Mets in this one, and that's really all she wrote. The Mets lose by a final score of 7-0. They are out hit 12-3. The Braves offense looking deadly as ever. The team looking deadly as ever. The Braves, as I've been saying so much this year, as much as I despise them as a rival, I have to give credit where credit's due. I know how uber talented this club is. And for the Braves and their fan base's sake, you know, you guys need to have a deep run this year. You're just too talented not to. If you don't, it's honestly going to make me, one, laugh, and two, shock me because of just how talented you guys are. So it's going to be interesting to follow for the remainder of the year as we get into the postseason, how deep these teams are going to go. But rest assured, Braves 1 through 9 is simply one of, if not the best lineups in all of baseball. And if you're a Braves fan, you're excited about it. You're excited with how the season has turned out in your favor, which has certainly done that a lot in recent years. And for the Mets and us Mets fans, we just hope that this season can wrap up as soon as possible. They still have, 7 games against another arch rival, that being the Phillies down the stretch, as the Phillies are trying to make sure they secure a wild card spot. So I'm fully expecting more disappointment, more frustration in Mets fandom before the season ends. But before we get there, I just want to, again, thank everyone so much for watching and listening, whether you're watching this now, whether you're watching this a day later, whenever you're watching this. Really, really appreciate your support, and know that the content will continue to be rolling out this season, and especially in the off season. We have so much coming. We have new shows coming. We have just a lot of exciting stuff to get into that we can finally break down in individual player breakdowns, news, rumors, reports, all that kind of stuff, with the off season content being juicy as it always is. Make sure you're chiming in for it all. But everyone that's been staying with me all season long in the highs and most certainly the lows, which has been the most consistent thing versus the highs, I want to thank you all again greatly for your endless support and making the show not only be afloat, but be, as you know, as flourishing and really as vibrant as it has been this year. We've had a great success on the channel, regardless of the Mets' success or lack thereof. And I have every single one of you guys and gals to thank for your endless support. So thank you again, guys. And as always, let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.